Alright, hey guys, what's up? It's been quite a while since I've done something like this, so welcome to the anime mid-season first impressions for the spring arc of 2016. Yeah, that's right. I know I'm doing this kind of late. It's kind of not really mid-season actually, it's a little bit over. It'd be called the 3/4 season. First impressions, that'd be kind of weird, but yeah, that's about how far it is for everything. So, as usual, I'm gonna run down the list of shows that I'm watching, and then briefly tell you guys about what I thought about them, and if I recommend any of them in particular to you guys. Sorry this video's kind of late. I've been consumed by what's been going on during E3. I don't know if any of you guys are watching that. I'll probably make a video or something on what I think. So, anyway, let's get down to what I'm here for. So, at the very top of the list is Assassination Classroom Season 2. Surprisingly, it's actually still airing. Boku no Hero Academia, which is, it's My Hero Academy. And then Bungo Stray Dogs, Gakusen Toshi Asterisk Season 2, and then there's Leisa Turning, Haifuri or High School Fleet, 100, Kiznaiver, and then there's Kabaneri and the Iron Fortress, Mayoiga, which also means Lost Village. There's Netoge, which is, I think, what's the real name? I know it's a really long title. Oh yeah, that's right. It's also called And You Never Thought There Was a Girl Online. And then there's ReZero, Saiban Cerberus, and Windstar Exorcists, or Sosai no Homeology, which is the last one. So, let's start at the very top. Yeah, Assassination Classroom has been something, as I had mentioned way before, something that's been a big surprise to me. Like, I never knew it'd be so consistently good. Kodo Sensei has been a really funny character, especially with the whole classroom, and it's very dynamic that way because as the season goes on, everyone changes and they're all trying to, their feelings for Sensei changes and Irina changes and like everybody else changes as well. In some parts it can be kind of slow and it kind of rises up in terms of action. So, I mean, I wouldn't say it's meant for everyone, but I actually think Assassination Classroom itself is very good. So, if you haven't watched the first season, I'd highly recommend it. Moving on, Boku no Hero Academia is actually made for last year. Yeah, so it's pretty much almost along the same premise where someone figures out that they have powers, but in this sense, the main hero, I forgot his name. Oh yeah, Izuku. So, he's like going on a journey, or he loves superheroes. That's the thing that's really funny. I mean, it's almost like all of us. We do love people that want to save the world, that really stand out, that are really unique, and just do great things. And then, at the very beginning of the series, it's really funny because he's watching a video and then he's telling his mom, he's like, I want to be like them. And then it's pretty cool because his mom's encouraging. It's like, don't worry, you'll be like them eventually. So then it just follows him figuring out that he has powers like this. So yeah, I think it's really cool. Animes that revolve around the character learning more about themselves, actually that's almost like every show, is really great. It's kind of like, goes without saying that it'd be really good and really well thought out. But I do not recommend having high expectations at all for any shows. That's just me, but yeah. Next is Bungo Stray Dogs, and this is actually a really interesting anime. This reminded me a lot of like Kekai Sensen Blood Blockade Battlefront, with a really unique premise and a really unique setting, how it's like New York. Instead, in Bungo Stray Dogs, it's almost, well, I wouldn't really say like the same idea, but then, well, it just revolves around the fact that the main hero has really unique powers, and then it starts off kind of sad because the main character starts off in an orphanage, he gets removed, he almost gets banished from the orphanage, and then due to like a strange incident that happened, and then he ends up working with a lot of other really uniquely powered individuals, hence the Stray Dogs title. So I think it's really cool, very reminiscent of Kekkai Senzen. I think if you actually go on, see if I'm right, if you go on my anime list, yeah, that's right, the first recommendation right next to Bungo Stray Dogs is in fact Blood Kid Battlefront. So that's really interesting. It's got kind of like some mystery and some thriller elements wrapped into it, so that's really cool. And next is Gakusen Toshi Asterisk, which is probably one of my favorite shows. It's in the future, and that's where the academy has held competitions for the reputations of their schools. So, of course, it being in the future is a great thing. I love the powers in the show. They are really great. It's basically much like the regular Magic High School, almost like the same premise, where like it's where magic and technology are at the pinnacle, and in order for there to be some sort of source of power, they have to meet, and then people wield that power through they wield that magical power through technology. So it could be in the weapons, the devices, things like that. So, yeah, of course, if you haven't watched the first season, you gotta watch the second season. So just, backtrack. But I honestly really recommend this show. It's really great. And then next, after that, oh man, I was so glad when I heard that this game actually had an anime adaptation. Now I know it's kind of weird because throughout most of the anime airing history so far, I mean, the shows that aired, or game adaptations for animes are always kind of weird. I had mentioned God Eater, not too popular. I believe there are some others. What was another one I had? The God Eater was one. There must have been another. I forgot. Oh, that's right, Gunslinger Stratos. That's another one. Yeah, see, the going from game to anime is a really weird idea because sourcing the material from a game seems really weird. And like for Ace Attorney though, I actually really love the approach that they had because I'd never played any of the Phoenix Wright games, and then when you watch first 2 episodes, it introduces you how the court system works, how you objectify against certain things, like how Phoenix Wright says objection, and then how the process carries on from there, what the judge assesses things, and how you're supposed to think about certain cases, or pointing out contradictions. I was like, wow, this makes me really want to get a Phoenix Wright game now. And I actually kind of do now, so I actually really admire the fact that they did make an anime off of it. So definitely check out the Ace Attorney anime if you haven't already, if you're a big fan of course, Phoenix Wright or any of the games. Really do recommend it. Next is something quite interesting. There are a lot of humorous, satirical, well not really satirical because satirical is, or satire is based on politics. Well, let's say parody-based jokes for this anime. It's called High School Fleet, and a lot of people are just like, dude, it's like the same art style as Kantai Collection, but because it's about boats. But instead of the boats being characters, it's actual characters manning a boat. So it's kind of like the real way of it happening. Well, I think it's really good. There is this one image on the internet where it's like, I got this, but then I got this in the end. It's like, yeah, I watched Haifuri, that's the Japanese title for High School Fleet, and I expected Contact Collection, but then when I watched it, I got World of Warships, that's actually a game. And the thing that I do have to mention though is that the way this anime is scaled, or like the way it turned out over time, was really, really interesting. Because of course, it's very moe, so you expect it to be very, very happy and easy to watch. But then as it got towards, because we're near the very end, I told you guys. I mean, this is more of like 3/4 the way through the season, so we're almost hitting the end of certain shows, and it gets really, really serious. So it's kind of like, whoa, that's some turn for some show to take. So if you guys love moe and you do love ships, I mean, you can check out Contact Collection, but please do, with all your curiosity, check out High School Fleet, because yes, definitely recommended for that sort of thing. So yeah, it's a really interesting story. Next after High School Fleet is something that probably a lot of people, or it's probably really unpopular because it's so what we call generic. Next is 100, and 100 is a sci-fi anime. It's also a harem. It's like, oh golly, how many harem sci-fi animes are there? There are actually quite a few, but to be the defender and the appreciative one is always 100's actually really good. That was one of my priorities this season, besides Windstar Exorcists, which I'll talk about later. But yes, I do think 100 is actually really good. And why, you may be thinking? That's right, it's the art. The art is always the thing that catches my eye. If a show has really good art, I'm just gonna go like straight to it. I don't even care, I'm just gonna go. So, yeah, it's in the future, and I think it's like, what, 20... Let's see... It's in... Oh, it doesn't even say. Well, anyway, 100 is in the future, as I just said, and the main character has to go off away from planet Earth and has to go to the city. It's kind of like... How do I say it? It's kind of like a floating city. Actually, it is. Yeah, it's on like a ship. That's interesting. It's like usually it'd be like a city in the sky, but a ship, or a city on the ship. Whoops, I'm mixing things up. It's called the Little Garden, and then at the Little Garden, you can do this thing, or you can learn about manipulating this weapon called 100. And the thing that's really funny is that, of course, like most animes, it's like, oh, 100s are only meant for female users. And of course, the protagonist is a male, so then it's like, dude, what are you doing in a mainly female academy and you want to learn this thing? So then, of course, like most plots, it's like, oh, whoa, your compatibility rate with the 100 is so off the charts, so this falls through with him learning more about getting even stronger with it, and of course meeting a bunch of pretty ladies or girls along the way. So there's like Amelia, and there's Claire, and there's like a bunch of, I think there's just like 5 of them in this show. So yeah, I mean, the least I can say is that if you do like harem, and you do like sci-fi, and you do like big explosions, because it is in fact a mecha anime, check out this show, because if not, you're totally missing out on something. And then after 100, okay, so this is gonna get really, really interesting. After 100 is Studio Trigger's newest anime. It's called Kiznaiver, and there's no translation for it, it's just the name of it. And Trigger has been known to make really, really out of place, really, really unique shows that no one has ever seen. Like the non-generic. That's probably the best way to explain it. Like Kill la Kill, Rolling Girls. There are a lot of shows that they've made where people are just like, oh, FLCL. I mean, people are just like, what? Who thought of this? And then, so yeah, Kiznaiver revolves around this one young lady. Her name's Noriko, and she decides to implement this project on these, I think it's 8 people? Yeah, 8 people, they don't really know each other. But then the message of the Kiznaiver, the show itself, is pain is connected. And Noriko commences this project called the Kiznaiver Project, hence the name of the anime. And in the Kiznaiver Project, those 8 people, I believe it's 8, might have been 7, I don't know, they do this like surgery on them, and then they get this like special press on different parts of their, I believe it's just their arms. It's like a wound, and it like really pops out. It's like red. And then when one sensation of pain hits that wound, everyone that has that feels it. So it gives way to the show, and this show gets really deep because you start to learn more about each of the 7 or 8 individuals, and then they all learn more about each other, and then they start caring about each other. But then that one, the Kiznaiver Project, is either bringing them together or tearing them apart. So I can't really explain much because the show goes so incredibly deep into this really lush storyline. And yeah, I seriously recommend, if you are a big Studio Trigger supporter, check out Kiznaiver, because if you aren't, you're missing out on a whole lot. Next, after that, wait, hold on. I'm not advertising Coke after talking for a lot. Of course, I need to drink something. Next is Kabaneri and the, I think I'm pronouncing it, Kabaneri? Maybe that's better. Kabaneri and the Iron Fortress. Now this is really cool because we're in 2016 and the artist or the studio that made it revisits an 80s art style. So if you look at what's a 80s style anime that I might have seen, I don't think, would you do Hush? No, I don't know. But anyway, it revisits a really old anime art style and refines it. So it's really cool. A lot of people are comparing this to Attack on Titan, which I'm not surprised because I think it's a quote-unquote carbon copy, but not really. If you think about it, though the settings may seem the same, Kabaneri has a much more refined, or more defined, that's probably a better way of saying it, steampunk setting, because it's in the old age, steampunk, where technology, steam technology of course, is kind of at its revolutionary peak, and then there are these beings called Kabaneris that invaded the land in which the main character, Yome, lives. And then I believe she was she got bitten, but then she didn't necessarily die or get, the infection didn't grow too strong, and she's technically a Kabaneri herself. So of course, like most of these very disaster-driven animes, the main character now utilizes that power as an advantage. And then, of course, it's like the revolt. Main character and co-cast goes together to try to find the source of the problem. It's really cool. This anime is so action-packed. Lots of blood. I don't know why I'm mentioning that in such a happy way. But yes, there's explosions, lots of guns, really cool steampunk technology. There's like a thing. Now the reason why they're saying it's like a carbon copy is because the way that they maneuver in these combat situations is with a steam jet that has like hooks on the back. So as you can see, as I'm explaining this, you're like, wait, dude, that's like the same. Well, almost. Please don't call it the same because art's different, characters are different, story's different. So, see, I already stopped it already. So if you really do enjoy steampunk, lots of action, really cool art, Kabaneri is really cool. And next, after that, is something quite odd, but I believe that really fits the description. Mayoiga also means Lost Village. And this anime just got weirder and weirder as you watched it. It is a thriller mystery, and there's about 30 people. That's a big cast. There are 30 people in a bus, and they're of course, through like an online forum, they're like, oh, you want to relive your life in a great new way? Oh, come visit this village, which of course gives away to the title. And these 30 people do not know each other. They all just accepted the request through the online forum. So this is a huge array of different characters. Like, if you're an avid watcher of anime, you can like point out all the different types of characters that you may or may not have seen. So that's a really interesting dynamic, I believe, that you implemented. And they go to this village. It's supposed to be like a vacation. Oh, we're all supposed to get to know each other. We're all supposed to be friends. Blah blah blah. Of course, then through doing this whole thing, you know, not everyone's compatible. So of course there's going to be conflict. And when there's conflict, more problems spread outward, and that's what starts to get weirder, and darker, and yeah. So, in order to unveil more of the mystery, I really recommend, if you do like horror, mystery, thrillers, supernatural, I believe that's in it too, do totally check out Mayoiga, because it's actually got a pretty good reputation, though the weirdness may not support it that much. I actually do think it really, the weirdness itself really made it popular. So yeah, check it out if you like weird stuff that turned out very good. Okay, so after that is, do you really believe there's a girl online? Or there are girls online? So this is a really funny premise. Like most of us in the modern generation, gamers just tend to stay in their house and play games all day long. That's essentially what the protagonist does. So he's playing this RPG, probably like World of Warcraft or something. Grinds constantly, goes on every day, does dailies and stuff like that, and then he meets a female character online. Really likes the character, confesses to the character, finds out that's a male player behind the character, so then it's like, oh god, you just ruined my whole experience of playing this. So that's what gives away to the title. Do you really believe there are any girls online? And after that, the character, kind of like after some sort of like withdrawal, main character runs back to playing, and then finds another character, but then finds a female player, and then finds out the female player really likes him in return. So then it's like, whoa, what the heck? Do people exist? So then, yeah, it's basically the adventure of protagonist. The name of the wife, so to speak, named Ako. He's like super popular this season in terms of female characters, and yeah, she just is totally in love with the main character. The main protagonist's name is Hideki. Huh, that's interesting. I've actually never heard of that name before. So Hideki finds Ako, and then her relationship starts, and it spreads outward, and they find more friends. So yeah, it's basically that sort of journey. It's a really, really different standpoint for games, of course, because usually they're in the game, they're stuck in the game, but that's the viewpoint of the gamer themselves. So yeah, definitely for all you MMO, RPG, or people that are fans of animes that revolve around games, totally check this out. Next is probably by far one of the most popular animes this season. It's called Re:Zero, and in Re:Zero the main character dies, but then he resurrects in an alternate world, kind of like a fantasy world, and then it's this one goddess named Amelia, and then they forge a friendship that way, and all these other things happen. It's actually a rather long one. It's probably the longest one. Yeah, so Re:Zero is really long. It's actually 25 episodes, so I guess for or almost halfway. So I guess from my mid-season first impressions, that's like right on the dot. I was kind of waiting for that to hit mid before everything else has got the 3/4, so it's kind of like, whoa, slow down, man. But anyway, yeah, Re:Zero has probably some of the best crafted characters that people have seen in a very long time. If you guys watch Konosuba, the actor of Megumin plays Emilia, so everyone's like, oh, familiar voice actor, yeah, I'll watch it. So yeah, The thing that's really interesting about ReZero is that it plays a lot with that whole, what's the word, or the phrase? It's kind of like a loop. The main character gets kind of stuck in a loop where he experiences death, is resurrected, and has to think about what that death has done to time, and then try to fix things at the same time. It's not like Steins Gate, but it does in fact play a lot on top of that sort of idea. So like, Emilio is the one that saved Subaru at first from death, so that's why I was like, oh, I'm back in this really weird world. So the thing that's really interesting is that it plays on that dynamic of the plot. Like, everything revolves around death, and that's kind of weird, but yes, it does in fact revolve around that, because he's trying to understand people, but then in the end he just keeps on dying. That's so unfortunate to say. But yeah, if you do love fantasy, and this has a really beautiful, or there are some really, really great characters in this show, so seeing all the development happen as things go along is really great. So if you guys love fantasy and things like that, you really, really love it. It has to deal a lot with time, friendship, courage, trying again, self-confidence due to the fact that Subaru is trying to get over the fact that he's trying so hard to get close to people, just ends up dying the whole time. Man, that's such a really heavy thing to say. But yeah, if you guys really do want something memorable, I really think ReZero is worth checking out. After ReZero, we're near the end. There's two more. Next is Seizen Cerberus, another fantasy-based anime, and like in most shows, it's like, okay, so there are some evil guys over there, and we gotta go beat them up because they're trying to beat up our civilization. So, much like anything, there are nations, and the nations are at war with each other. It's like, oh, we hate you guys, and you guys hate us, and we're trying to do that. And then, in this show, there's a really powerful entity, has the best name ever. It's called Evil Dragon, or that's the nickname. It's like, whoa, scary, too spooky for me, Evil Dragon. And yeah, of the three civilizations are all trying to seal it off. So yeah, it's about nations coming together, either not working together, or totally working together, or just totally betraying each other. It can go in all sorts of ways. So yeah, as I'm seeing so far, it's not really that popular. I actually think it's at the very low tier end of the season. But yeah, for anyone that does like fantasy, or any sort of fantasy genre, check it out if you want. And to finally conclude, this is my biggest priority this anime season, by far. So let me just get to it. It's called Windstar Exorcists. And basically, it revolves around, and it's the title, Demon Exorcism. And the main character, Rokuro, he went through this really big disaster in trying to become an exorcist, and he ended up killing, oh wait, no, that's sort of, never mind, you didn't hear that. There's like a big disaster, and then he never wants to be an exorcist again, like never ever. And then this one girl magically falls out of the sky because she was trying to do an exorcism at one point, and then she got too tired and she fell from the top of the sky, and Rokuro's near like a bridge. He sees this beautiful girl fall, really long black hair, and then he gets really surprised, and of course tries to rescue her, and they both fall in the river. And then Rokuro meets Benio. Benio is a really powerful exorcist, something that Rokuro used to be. So, to get straight to the point, Benio and Rokuro are actually supposed to be a pairing. They're supposed to marry each other to make the next grand exorcist, like the next really strong warrior. So it's about these two getting really close to each other. Now this This show has some absolutely spectacular art, really great action. To tell you the truth, I watched the first episode about 4 times, so you can tell I'm really addicted to this show. It's like, whenever this show airs, I'm like, oh dude, gotta go watch it. So, yeah. Anyway, you guys, that about wraps it up for the spring arc. I really hope you enjoyed the discussion. It's not as much as my other ones. I mean, last time there was like 19, 18 animes. This is only 14, so not too bad. Anyway, you guys, stay honest. I hope to see you guys again. Until then.